Morning everybody, my name is Peter C. We're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado, and today we're going to check out a 2026 Winnebago EKKO 23B. This is a really great option for anybody out there who's maybe in a Revel or another B van and you want something just a little bit bigger, but you want to retain all that off-grid capability and that smaller footprint. The EKKO is perfect for that. So this is built on a Mercedes Sprinter 3500 chassis. This is all-wheel drive. You're going to have BF Goodrich KO3 tires all the way around to complement being all-wheel drive. Again, it's really good for kind of off-grid adventuring. We're going to take a quick trip around the exterior and then we'll head on inside. So under the hood, this is going to have a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine, and that's going to make 211 horsepower and 332 foot-pounds of torque. You have a 9-speed automatic transmission, and this will have a 5,000-pound towing capacity. Now, coming around the side over here, we'll take a look at some of the exterior storage bays. So this first one right here is actually going to house our battery. So the standard for the EKKO is to be powered by a single 320 amp hour Lithionics lithium battery. And that is also going to be powered by your generator. Actually, our generator is going to be right here. Now, this is a 2800 watt propane generator. So the 2800 watt propane generator is going to charge up your batteries. Your batteries are going to supply all of your power to the house. And we will also have 530 watts of solar up on the roof of this coach that will also charge those batteries. And then this bay right here is just going to house a gray water pump. Now, this is the standard option for this EKKO, to have a single battery and the generator. You do have a couple options where you can kind of configure what kind of power systems you want to have here. One of the options is to delete that generator, and that'll turn that bay into just storage and have a double battery. This will go, instead of a single 320 amp hour, this will basically double to a single 630 amp hour lithium battery. And an option they just came out with about 2 weeks ago is you can now do the 630 amp hour lithium battery plus the onboard generator. So in total, there's 3 configurations you can go with depending on what your needs are. The 530 watts of solar on the roof are going to be a standard. There's no option to increase that solar from the factory. Right here, we're gonna have what suffices as our black tank. So this coach doesn't have a traditional black tank. You're gonna have what's called a cassette toilet in here. So show you how this works real quick. This is just gonna slide out like that. You have a little suitcase attachment to it, and you can take this and wheel it around. Now, the reason they do a cassette toilet instead of a traditional black tank is, again, the EKKO is made to be kind of an off-grid adventure vehicle. You can empty this anywhere there's a pit toilet in a national forest, rest stop, anywhere, versus having a traditional black tank. You're gonna have to find a campground or somewhere that you can actually go dump your black tanks. So really easy to empty this. You just turn this valve to the side, unscrew it, and dump the whole thing. When you put it back in here, this cover is going to automatically slide back into place, and you never have to touch any of the things up there. All right, we'll head a little farther back here. Right here, we're gonna have our 30 amp smart plug for our shore power. So this is a smart plug because if you see this G, L, and N here, this is actually gonna light up green to tell you your power supply is healthy. If it senses there's something wrong with the power supply, maybe something wrong with the ground or the neutral, this is gonna blink red, which is gonna let you know to unplug that shore power before you cause any kind of electrical damage to the coach. Right above that is going to be your solar expansion port. So again, this has 530 watts of solar, which is very robust for something this size. But if you wanted to bring, suitcase solar or something and plug it in to get a couple hundred watts more of solar, you could plug it into that solar expansion port right there. All right, so our next bay is going to be our wet bay. So in here, from bottom to top, we're gonna have our gravity fill up top for our 50-gallon freshwater tank. So this does have 50 gallons of fresh water and 51 gallons of gray water. Really nice thing about those tanks is both of them are going to be housed inside underneath the beds. So if you're looking for something, a little more all seasons that you're not gonna have to worry about your tanks freezing, EKKO is perfect for that as well. Up top here, we're gonna have our water pump switch as well as a patio light right here. hot and cold water outdoors, and it should be in the garage. You're also gonna have a little quick connect hose right there. So if you wanna take an outdoor shower, maybe wash off some items, wash off any pets that are with you, you have water for that right there. Our freshwater city inlet will be right there. You'll have a cable hookup out here as well. And then all the way down at the bottom is going to be our gray water tank drain for that 51-gallon gray tank. All right, now we'll check out the garage, but first off, we'll talk about this awning real quick. So this is an option that you can add to this EKKO. This awning, you'll see that goes around 270 degrees here. This is called a batwing awning. Advantages to this, and why I always recommend customers to include this on their coach, it's not a lot of extra money, but if you are boondocking or you spend a lot of time in one place and you want to have shade, this is going to give you 270 degrees of shade all the way around. It's a little bit lower than the Carefree awning you're going to have on the campsite, which means it's going to do a little better job of providing shade. But one really important thing with this is you can also stake this down at all three corners. So all three corners are going to have tie downs that you can actually stake this to the ground, meaning you're going to have to worry a lot less about wind, about it bouncing too much and ripping. You know, it's a lot more durable leaving it long term when you're at a boondocking site or something like that. And again, that is an option. You can get one of these without it, but most of the coaches we order here, we usually option with it. Now in the rear back here is going to be our gear garage. So this EKKO in total has about 65 cubic feet of exterior storage, which is really a ton for something this small, and most of that's going to be in this rear gear garage. Now, some of the cool things about this, on either one of your doors here, we're gonna have what are called molly panels. So what these are intended for is you can take some carabiners and just clip them on to all these little slots right here. If you have any miscellaneous gear, you know, biking helmets, ropes, boots, anything like that that you don't want to just throw in your garage, you want to kind of keep it neat, you can clip that all to this door and just keep it, you know, nice and organized. Now, one important thing to note when we're looking at all these exterior storage bays is how thick these compartment doors are. Every one of these compartment doors is about 1.5 inches thick, and they're cut directly out of the sidewall. So all of your bays are going to be extremely well insulated. All of your bays are also going to be heated. So if you look back here in our garage at this black port on the wall, that is actually a heat vent. So anything you put back here in your garage is going to stay heated. Nice thing as well is above both of these lights, you're gonna have outlets here. So we have 110 outlets and a cigarette outlet. So if you're someone that travels with maybe e-bikes, you can plug those e-bikes in back here into that outlet, and you're also not gonna have to worry about the lithium batteries in those e-bikes possibly freezing, because again, this is a heated storage compartment. Right here is gonna be that hose we talked about for the quick connect for your outdoor shower. And then on either side, we're also gonna have L-tracks in here. So there's gonna be an L-track at the front and an L-track at the rear, which is gonna allow you to tie down any cargo or bikes or anything you put back here in the garage, not have to worry about it sliding around too much. You can keep everything nice and secure. Now there's 3 doors to be able to access the garage here. We'll have those 2 that open outwards on the side, and then our rear door here is actually gonna come up on gas struts. So advantage of having this door, if you do not have your batwing awning and you want to access your garage when maybe it's raining, while you're standing under here, you're going to be sheltered from the rain. You're not going to be getting soaking wet while you're trying to get stuff out of your garage. Also, you know, provides a really easy angle to be able to get in there, get any heavy gear out. And now, while we're looking at the back, if we take a look down below, this does come with the hitch and a 7-way connection there. So again, this has a 5,000 pound towing capacity. So if you wanted to tow a small trailer or put a hitch rack on it for maybe some more additional storage, you can do that. We're also going to have a fixed ladder on every EKKO as a standard. So that is going to allow you to get up on the roof and be able to clean off your solar panels if you need to. So again, we mentioned 530 watts of solar. That's 3 really big panels, which means there's not any room up on that roof rack for any kind of cargo. That's a question we get a lot is, you know, can I put a roof cargo box or something up there? Not unless you get rid of your solar, but having this ladder is going to allow you to get up there and clean off those solar panels if they're covered in sand or snow or dust, depending on where you're camping. Then over here is just going to be our other door to access that garage. So you have long items you need to pass through, you can get all the way through this garage. Really easy to get anything in or out. All right, now this next compartment is going to be where our propane tanks are housed. Now I mentioned that every single compartment is heated and insulated. This is actually the exception to that rule. So this is the only compartment that's not going to be heated because you have the propane tanks in here, which means this has to be vented down below, can't be vented back to the cab in any way. I know that's a concern people often have with propane tanks is if they leak, can they get back into the cab where I'm sleeping? And the answer is no. These are completely sealed off from the cab and they vent down below the chassis. So you're not gonna have to worry about that if you did have a propane leak. So what these propane tanks are going to supply on this coach is a couple things. Number one, they're gonna power that 2,800 watt propane generator that we saw on the driver's side over there. They're also going to power our Truma AquaGo right here. This is your continuous water heater, and your Truma Vario Heat, which is your propane furnace. So 3 things in total are going to be powered by those propane tanks: our generator, our hot water, and our coach heating. Now, if you wanted to use this for, say, a backyard grill or something, down below here we do have a quick connect. So you can hook something up and pull off of those propane tanks if you want to maybe have a little tailgate or, you know, outdoor cooking. Get that shut. All right, now coming up farther this way, up above here, you're gonna have 2 outdoor outlets. So if you wanna, hook up an extension cord to supply some power to your campsite while you're sitting here under this nice awning, you can hook in right there. And down here is going to be a cable hookup for if you're at a campground that still has cable or satellite. All right, this next bay is gonna be a little bit more storage here on our campsite. And again, these are all insulated and heated storage bays. And the other important thing to note about these bays is that every one of these storage bays, again, except for that propane compartment, will all lock. So all of these will actually lock. You do have keys to lock them. And one nice thing they did with these is the new 2026 model years have updated latches. So if you look at these, you'll see this red down here. Makes it really easy to visually identify whether or not these compartments are locked. The older latches made it a little harder to tell, but now if you just walk all the way around the coach and just peek and see if you see any red sticking out, you'll know whether or not your bays are locked. So it makes it a lot easier to do a quick visual inspection before you take off down the road. And then one last storage bay right here. And if we look all the way in the back of that storage bay, you're going to see where our inverter is housed. So that is a 2,000 watt Xantrex inverter housed all the way in the back of that compartment. You will have one of your 3 inverter switches housed in there as well. All right, I'm gonna set this down real quick. Now, before we head inside, just 2 more things to mention here. This one was done with the full body selenite paint option. That is an upgrade. The standard would be just to have a plain white box, but most people like to have this gray because it color matches to the cab, just a really nice, sleek look. And you'll also have this carefree automatic awning. That is a standard. It's not something you have to option on. It's gonna come on every single coach. And again, that is an automatic awning. You're gonna have that LED light strip all the way along the outside. And this coach, this awning also has a wind sensor in it. So if it senses a lot of wind, the awning starts to bounce a lot, it's gonna automatically attract itself. So you don't have to worry about it getting damaged or anything like that. All right, now head on inside here. So you're gonna have an automatic step. We have this step locked out right now. You have a switch so you can just keep it locked out when you're camping so it's not going in and out every time you open the door. Otherwise, this step will be activated with the ignition. So even if you have your step override on, as soon as you turn this coach on and put it into drive, you're gonna retract that step. We have a nice screen door here. Cool thing about this screen door is this has this nice kind of chain link material on the outside. So if you're somebody that camps with pets, maybe you like to leave your dogs in the coach while you go for a hike, you're not gonna have to worry about them scratching through this door because this is all metal on the outside. So there's no mesh on the interior that they can scratch through. It's very durable. All right, now as we head inside here, just take a look at our entryway here. So on the right side, we're gonna have our fire extinguisher mounted there. And then up here on the left of the entryway, we'll have some of our controls we'll go over real quick here. So this is gonna be your control for that carefree awning we mentioned. Again, this is an automatic awning, so all we'll have to do is press retract once and it'll retract right there. It'll pull itself back in. Over here is gonna be our step override switch, as well as our coach battery disconnect. And then 3 of our lighting switches and an outlet for our 110. All right, now we'll get started with the interior tour in our living area right here. So right now we have our table in place and we have this arranged as sort of the sofa seating. This is a really configurable kind of dinette area. So we'll go over that briefly here. Now, one of the nice things about this table is you can really move this around kind of however you want. So if you want to keep your table in place, but you still want to be able to get into your cab, you can scoot it all the way that way, pull it all the way up into your lap. This table will spin around wherever you need it to go. Your front seats in the cab are going to be 180-degree swivel seats, so we can turn them back and face them towards the cab. So if you want to use this table while you're sitting up front, you can slide it up there towards that seat as well. Overall, due to the size of this table, got that stuck there, but due to the size of this table and the 5 seats you have here, you could easily seat 5 adults around this table. So if you're going to campground, you want to be social and maybe host dinner or play cards or something, there's going to be plenty of seating around this for you. Now, I'll go ahead and take this out real quick. Let me slide by you there, Jody. And we'll show you what else you can do in this living area. So we just pull that table out and store it back there. We pull that table post out, and that is going to have a little storage spot back underneath the bed. So again, we mentioned that you can kind of configure this area. On your passenger side, you're going to have this bench sofa seat right here. Nothing really much you can do with this. You do have a lap belt there, so that'll be seating for 1 passenger. On the other side, this is where we can kind of play with this a little bit. So right now we have this set up in kind of the opposing sofa seating. This will also turn into a forward-facing seat. So what we're gonna do is take this cushion, move it to the back, then we're gonna remove these 2 cushions. You'd usually just throw these back in the bedroom. And then we have a table right here that's just gonna come up, attach on the wall like that, and have a little extension. So now, if you want to use this as, maybe a little mobile workstation, you want to work on your laptop, we have outlets right above this. So we have USB and USB-C and 110 charging ports. So all the charging you need for any of your personal devices. This chair also has the 3-point forward-facing harness. So it's going to be the safest option for any passenger that you bring along with you. And again, really easy just to take this table down. All we're going to do is pick that up, and that'll hinge down and sit back down on the ground. And we'll go ahead and throw our cushions back in place. Now, the final thing we can do with this area is this will actually turn into a twin bed as well. So if you take that table that we had sitting in here, and you see these little slats that are on the side, you can set your table down into that, kind of reorient the cushions, and this will turn into a twin bed setup that is as wide as this cushion right here and as long as the cab is. So more than comfortable for 1 adult, certainly good for a child or anything like that. All right, now in the front, we have some storage up here as well. So this one comes optioned with the TV. This TV is an option. It's like $500 to include it. So if you don't want it, you don't lose anything or gain anything. You're just gonna have a little bit more headroom here. But usually we'll option them with the TV as well as this Bluetooth soundbar. On either side of that TV, we're gonna have some storage spaces. We have a little bit of storage back there that goes pretty far back, and we have this nice bungee net in front to keep anything you put in there from falling out. On the other side, you're gonna have more storage, but this is also sort of your AV setup. So if we look back here, we're gonna have 110 outlets right there, We have cable hookups if you want to hook that up to your TV. And all the way on the right side, there's actually an HDMI port there. So if you want to use a Roku or maybe a PlayStation or something and hook that up to your TV and use it as a display, you can use that HDMI port right there. We also have this nice light on a switch right there for our living area. Over on this side, we have the same outlets. So we have our 110 outlets, USB and USB-C charging ports, and then our opening windows in here. So really cool thing about all these windows, we mentioned that the EKKO is, really good for all seasons camping. Again, we have those fresh and gray tanks underneath the bed. We have those heated and insulated storage bays. The other thing that makes it very suited for all seasons camping is going to be these windows. So every coach is only as insulated as your windows are, and these are all double pane acrylic windows. They're about twice as insulated as your average residential household window. So they do a very, very good job of keeping heat or cooling in here. Every single one of these will open quite a ways, and you have these cassette shades built into every single window. So built right into the frame, we'll have our day shade right there. Also really useful as a bug screen. So if you want to leave all your windows open to get fresh air in here, but you don't want the mosquitoes or the bugs to get in, this is a really good use for a bug screen. And then we just slide that up, and now we'll have our blackout shades. So again, these cassette shades are going to be built into every single opening window in the house portion of this coach. Right above that, we have a little bit of storage up here. Our Winnebago manuals are housed in there. Every single coach is going to come with a Winnebago manual for the EKKO portion, as well as a Mercedes manual for your chassis. All of these storage bays are going to have this nice felt on the bottom, so helps with a little bit of noise insulation for the rattles, and also keeps you from scratching up the wood or anything that you put in there. Another storage bay here on the other side. So again, we have the felt on the bottom. This one actually has this steel brace that raises the load-bearing capacity of this cabinet to about 120 pounds. So very durable. You can put a lot of gear in there and not have to worry about it. This right here is actually our insulated curtain. So this is going to be just another one of the things that makes the EKKO a really good all-seasons camper. So the way this works, when you unfold this all the way, if we take a look at the front cap here, you're going to see these little button snaps. They go all the way around. So what we do with that curtain is going to completely isolate off the front cap. So we talked about, the acrylic double pane windows back here. The poorest insulated part of this coach is going to be the cab, because we have those single pane glass windows. They're going to leak heat and cooling much worse than anything back here will. So if you can completely isolate off this area, it's going to make your heating and cooling go a lot farther. So if you're staying in extreme environments, maybe you're in the desert and it's super hot, or you're in a very cold climate like up in the mountains here in Colorado, if you can isolate off this cab area, your heating and cooling for the coach are going to go a lot farther. The other cool thing with it is, again, if you're staying in a really hot or cold area and you're driving, you don't want your chassis AC or heating to have to heat the whole coach while you're driving. So when you put that cab curtain in place, if you get in your cab and it's 90 degrees, now your cab AC is only going to have to cool where you're sitting up here. Of course, you could drive with your AC in the coach running. You can drive with the heat in the coach running, but a lot of people don't want to do that while they're driving. You want to just be able to use the chassis. So having that cab curtain in place just helps alleviate all of those concerns. And then one more thing, this other window here in the living area, I always like to show this because I think it's really nice, is how far these windows will open out. So you'll see those clicks right there. This window will open out almost completely horizontally. So you get a ton of cross breeze through here in your living room. And again, you just close your day shade there, and you have a nice bug screen set up to let all that fresh air in, but keep all the bugs out. All right, so now we're gonna head back into the kitchen if you wanna swap places with me there, Jody. Turn on that light right there. So in your kitchen, you have a little button light mounted underneath your microwave there. That's just on the switch of the light itself. We have a little bit of storage down here. So we have 3 drawers here, and in the top one is going to be your burner. So the 23B EKKO does not have a gas cooktop like you'd have on the 22A EKKO. That's the Ford-based one. Instead, you get this induction cooktop. So this is removable. You take this wherever you want to, and you just plug it into any 110 outlet. So we have a 110 outlet up here. We have another 110 outlet right next to where I'm standing. We have those 110 outlets outside as well. So if you wanted to take this cooktop outside and do all your cooking out there, you can do that really easily. And then this would just be one storage drawer. We're gonna have another storage drawer beneath that. And in here, we're gonna have our remotes for that Bluetooth soundbar and our TV, as well as our MaxxAir exhaust fan. Which is one thing we forgot to mention in the living area. Actually, you do have an exhaust fan built in right there. And then a little bit deeper storage drawer at the bottom. This will also come with this nice insert. So what this is for is if we open this drawer all the way out, slide that insert in like that, it's going to give you just a little bit more counter space. So if you're sitting here cooking, you could always take your cooktop and set it right on there. And now you have a little bit more counter space for your cooking. Always helps in these small campers. Go ahead and put that back in. Then under the sink, a little bit more storage in here. And if we look all the way back there at the right to that white cylinder, that's going to be your house water filtration system. And that filters all the water for your sink right there. So we have a stainless steel, pretty large basin sink. Definitely not the tiny little sinks that you see in a lot of B vans. So you can actually put some dishes in there. You can actually wash a pan in there without, splashing water everywhere. You also have a sprayer wand for your kitchen faucet right there. And then we have an opening window behind the kitchen as well. If I can get that one open, but that does open out as well. All the way over here, you're gonna have one more storage cabinet with these adjustable shelves. So you can adjust these shelves to any height that you want to. You could also just remove them if you wanted to put a larger object in there. All the way up on the top left, there's gonna be an outlet in there as well. So if you wanted to use this cabinet to, plug in a coffee maker and have a designated spot, you can just leave your coffee machine. That's a great spot for it. And then we have our microwave. So this is a convection microwave. Since we don't have an oven or anything like that in here, having a convection microwave is really nice to have. It's pretty roomy. So you could certainly fit like a, pizza or something like that in there. And then a little bit more storage up above your microwave. So maybe cutting boards, skillets, whatever miscellaneous items you have in your kitchen, just a little bit more use for storage up there. And then on our other side, it's going to be where our refrigerator sits. So nice refrigerator. We have our produce drawer down at the bottom, couple of shelves, and then all the way up top, you have a little chest freezer here. So a couple pints of ice cream, maybe some frozen meat, just a little bit of, freezer space for you. And this is a 12-volt compressor-driven refrigerator. All right, so that'll wrap it up for the kitchen. Now, above your refrigerator, we're gonna have our storage as well as some controls. So all the way up here, you're gonna have storage. Again, nice felt panel in there to help with the noise insulation. All the way in the back, you're gonna have 110 outlets, USB and USB-C charging ports again. And really cool thing about this compartment is if you look all the way to the back at that black port up on the top, that is actually a designated roof access port that Winnebago adds to every one of these EKKOs. So if you wanted to add Starlink to this, it makes it really easy having that dedicated roof access port there. Down below, take a look at some of our controls here. So right here is your Zamp solar charge controller. This is just displaying the voltage of your batteries, whether or not your batteries are charging. Again, 530 watts of solar on the roof. So this will basically display what's going on with those solar panels. Right here in the middle is going to be our power, environment controls, and fresh and gray tank gauges. So we can see our fresh and gray tanks are both, fresh is at 0%, your gray tank's at 12% because we did just have this winterized. Up here is going to be our environment controls. So this will control your 13.5K BTU AC unit. We just go in here, we can change the mode to cool. We can also control the fan speed from here. So if you don't want to have the AC on, but you just want it to blow some fresh air through, you can go in and turn on your fan. And then we'll set the temperature over here on the right. This is displaying the current temperature in the coach. So right now it's 69 degrees in here. And then finally we have power. Power, all of this is going to do is display your generator. So it shows your generator hours, and you can start and stop that generator from here. And then it's going to show your chassis battery voltage over there. Now, if you optioned this without the generator, because we mentioned you can do this with the generator delete, this power center would just show your chassis and house battery voltage. You wouldn't have the generator displayed there. And then all the way over here is just going to be your 2000 watt Xantrex inverter controller. So that's just one of those 3 inverter switches that we mentioned. All right, so heading a little farther back, we'll go into the bathroom here. So bathroom for the EKKO is one of the coolest things of this coach. And we mentioned getting out of a B van, that an EKKO is a really good option for you. We hear a lot of feedback from customers that do have a B van. And when they get in these bathrooms, it's one of the things they're most impressed by, because it's nice to have a small camper with a shower and a bathroom that doesn't, feel like kind of a coffin. So number one, your toilet here is on a swivel. So really easy to just swivel this around for whatever is most comfortable to you. Just above that, we do have an opening window in here. So opening window just like everywhere else. And then a little bit of storage all the way at the top of the bathroom there. So right now this is set up as your toilet and your sink, but if you want to take a shower, what you're going to do is you just grab the wall right here where you see that little cutout. This whole wall will just pull over, and now we sort of have our shower basin. So there's a little clip up here. Go ahead and clip that on. Now that wall is going to be fixed in place. So this is actually, a decently sized shower. Again, compared to like a B van, you actually can get in here and have a little bit of room. So I'm about 6 foot with my shoes on. My head is, still several inches from the ceiling. Doesn't feel like it's really low. You have more than enough room to be able to raise your arms without, doing acrobatics in here basically. You're gonna have the shower curtain here on the wall. So everything in here is gonna be waterproof. Your wall on this side is going to be waterproof, but you generally are still going to want to use this shower curtain just to make sure you're not splashing water too much. So that shower curtain will pull all the way around there. And then you have more than enough room there for your shower. Behind that, our shower head's going to be mounted on the wall right there. Now, nice thing about this shower head is you do have this little on and off switch integrated right into the shower head. So again, this coach has 50 gallons of fresh water, which is a lot of fresh water for a little Class C camper, but still when you're off grid, you want to do everything you can to conserve that fresh water. So you can flip on your water pump right outside the shower underneath the sink there, but still, you want to conserve that water. So when you get in the shower and you're maybe soaping up, you can just go ahead and turn off the shower head so you're not wasting water. And that'll just sit right back up there. All right, heading a little farther back here, go over our controls on the wall right here. So this is going to be your Truma controls. So this controls that Truma Vario heat, which is our furnace, and the Truma AquaGo. So up here on the left is going to be your coach heating. We just click on that and set the temperature to whatever we want it to be. Next spot is going to be our hot water. So our hot water on or off.
Is not possible for the current Sirius XM
Apparently Mercedes is talking to us right now. Over here is going to be our fan for that, for your furnace, and then just some time settings and diagnostic controls down below. Right here is going to be our switches for your bathroom light. So you do have a light in the bathroom, and then your little night light down here by my feet. So this does have that night light, so if you need to get out of the bed and use the bathroom in the middle of the night, you do have just a little bit of lighting down there, so you're not going to trip on something as you're getting down these stairs. Right above us in the bathroom area is where our AC unit's going to sit. So this is the intake for our AC, but this AC unit is ducted throughout the coach. So in total, there's going to be 5 AC vents in here. 2 of them are back in the bedroom. Really important thing about ducted AC is if you're camping in a really hot climate and you have trouble sleeping when it's too hot, you can close all of your AC ducts up in the living area and just leave these two back in the bedroom open. So you're gonna keep all that airflow back here where you're sleeping, keeps you nice and cool. Now we'll look at the storage back here in the bedroom. So on either side, we're gonna have these matching storage compartments. Both of these will have hanging storage. There should be a curtain rod up top. So if you need to hang anything, you have a spot for that. And then the other side here is also where the post for our table sits, down in the bottom right there. That's just a little mount for that table post. And then we have our storage drawers here on either side. A good spot to fold up all your clothes. And then we do have a privacy curtain for our bedroom as well that just clips right here on the wall. So if you want to just pull this over, you're going to have a nice spot, just completely block off all the light coming up from the living area. Or if you're camping with somebody else and maybe you get up earlier than them, closing this privacy curtain is just going to allow you to kind of have your own spaces. Separation of space is a really important thing in small, campers. So being able to kind of separate off your bedroom from your living area is really nice. All right, right now we have this set up in our twin bed configuration. On either side, we're gonna have 32 by 80 inches mattresses. And these are the WindSleep mattresses. Actually really nice memory foam mattresses, very, very comfortable. Right now we have these little window shades for our front windows for the Mercedes cab in here. But nice thing to mention with these mattresses is both of these are going to sit on these are called Frawley springs. So what these do is, number one, they're going to keep airflow beneath your mattress. So that's going to keep you cool, prevents heat from getting trapped in there. It also prevents moisture from getting trapped in there. So a big concern with campers is mold growth or anything like that. So having that, airflow going through there is going to discourage the growth of any mold, having any concerns with that. And finally, it kind of acts like springs, so it just provides a bit more support for this mattress for you. Now, nice thing with both of these mattresses is underneath them, your storage here is actually going to hinge up on a gas strut, which now allows us to be able to top load everything in here. So if you want to get into your hanging storage, you want to get into your drawer, really easy to access it now. And then while we're looking at that, on your passenger side only, there's going to be a little hidden cubby all the way in the back. Pretty deep storage compartment. Really good spot for valuables that you might bring with you. Jewelry, passports, anything like that. No one would really know that that compartment is there, unless they're familiar with an EKKO. So if someone were to break into your coach, it's a really good spot to be able to hide all your valuables and just have a little bit of peace of mind. All right. Now, again, this is set up as a twin bed right now with those 32 by 80 inch mattresses. But if you wanted to make this into more of a queen size bed, what we can do is we'll take this center insert. Now on the back of this center insert, you do have kind of cup holders here. This is a hard plastic backing. So if you use this as a nightstand, it's really nice to be able to sit in bed and, leave a plate there for snacks, coffee cup, glass of wine, anything like that. Having a hard surface to set it on is nice. But if you want to use this as the queen bed, all you're going to do is bring this out, flip it over, and set it in the center just like that. And now we have a queen size mattress that's going to enable you to be able to sleep east to west instead of north to south. To remove it, super, super simple. Just flip that over, put it right back in place. All right, now in the back of the bedroom, you do have storage here on either side. Again, felt on the bottom just like everywhere else. It's not easy to see on the camera, but on the inside of both of these panels, we will have USB and USB-C charging ports and 110 outlets on both sides. Back here, we're gonna have another 110 outlet, USB and USB-C charging ports. So there's 3 of those total just in this area. Underneath that is this little port. So if you want to drop your cords through there, if you want to leave your laptop, your iPad, iPhone right here to charge, you can drop the cord right through there. On either side, we have these little night lights. So these have 2 settings. You'll have your blue light as well as your lamp light. Blue light's a cool thing to have if you're somebody that likes to read a book while, you know, the person camping with you goes to sleep. You can use that blue light and not have to worry about disturbing them too much. All right, and then finally, the windows back here. So same windows as up front. These are gonna open all the way horizontally, right out to there. So we can get a ton of airflow through back here while you're sleeping. So if you like to use your camper but still feel like you're actually camping, kind of give you that tent feel, having these windows all the way open, you can let in all that fresh air. And again, we have our day shade built in right into that frame that we can use as the bug shade. And then while we're looking this direction, all the way up at the top there, we have another outlet and a cable hookup. This does not come standard from the factory, but if you wanted to add a TV, this wall right here is made with structural support behind it to be able to mount a TV. We can do that here for you at Transwest if that's something that you were wanting, but it does not come standard from the manufacturer. And then if we take a look over at the other side, so we mentioned we have ducted AC, and there's 2 AC vents in the bedroom. Your heat is also going to be ducted, and back there is going to be your heat duct. So same concept with your heat. If you're camping in a really cold climate, you can go ahead and close all the heat vents up front and just leave that one heat vent in the bedroom open. Close your bedroom curtain there. It'll do a pretty good job of keeping all the heating back here with you. All right, so now we're gonna head up front into the cab portion and we'll finish off up there. Okay. So again, we mentioned swivel seats. These are 180-degree swivel seats that'll turn around and face towards the cab. The passenger and the driver's seat will both do that. These are power adjustable memory seats, which means you have 3 memory settings you can set them to. And they are also heated seats. They also have this little lumbar support down below. So this just provides a little bit more support for your legs. Really nice thing for long road trips, helps prevent, you know, kind of lower back pain, having that support all the way out towards your legs. Now, I'll go ahead and start it up real quick and we'll go over a couple of the safety features here. So here in the cab on our display, we're gonna have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which means we can connect your phone to this. You can, you know, use the navigation on your phone, it'll display on here. You can stream music to it, anything like that. All the way at the top, you're gonna have your digital rear view camera. So obviously you couldn't see out of the back of this coach if you had a rear view mirror there. So having that digital rear view camera is going to replace your rear view mirror, allow you to see behind you when you're on the road, just really helps with safety when you're going down the road in this. And then our backup camera, because there is a backup camera as well as a rear view camera, is going to be right there. Now right now we're looking at that Batwing awning that's extended. We'll put it back in park there. Go over some of the safety features real quick. Now this does come with adaptive cruise control, active lane keeping assist, collision avoidance, active braking, everything. It's really easy just to go into here to settings and toggle all this on or off. So if we go into driving, we have your downhill speed regulation. So that's going to keep you from burning up your brakes when you're going, you know, down steep grades. Over here, collision avoidance is going to have active brake assist, active lane keeping assist, blind spot assist, but we can just toggle all of that on or off with the click of a button. You have your traffic sign assist. So this is a really cool feature on the Mercedes cabs. If you see that black box up front, that actually has a camera in it. So that's what it uses to look out at the road and use your adaptive cruise control, active braking, all that. But it can also actually visually read traffic signs. So if you're going through an area that maybe has an adjusted speed limit for a construction zone or something, and you weren't aware of that, it's actually going to read that adjusted speed limit sign and display it on the dash in front of you. And then finally, over here, you have an automatic gas station search. So if you get down to fuel reserve, this will toggle and ask you if it wants you, or if you want it to search for gas stations that have diesel, and it'll automatically route you to those gas stations. We have your automatic door lock, so you can turn those door locks on or off. And then you can adjust the rain sensor sensitivity. So these are auto rain sensing wipers, but you can adjust the sensitivity for that, whether you want it to be low, standard, or high. you know, depending on how much rain you want to activate those sensors. Cab AC controls. This does have auto cab climate controls, which means you just set the temperature and the AC unit will do whatever it needs to do to keep the cab at that exact temperature. Again, really nice feature to pair with that cab curtain, so you can keep your cab up here completely isolated, keep it at a very comfortable temperature for you. And then your shifter for the Mercedes is going to be right here. This is super simple, just up for reverse, down for drive, and then you'll click it in for park right there. All right, that is going to wrap up our video for today. Again, my name is Peter C. You can find all my information right here. If you have any questions about the EKKO, if there's something I didn't cover in this video, or maybe you're interested in ordering one yourself, please give me a call. My number is 719-799-8357. Thanks for watching our video.